Awesome. That is absolutely true that I watched every episode, every season, 8 times last year alone. This year, I'm already on my 7th go-around for my conference, for my deck. I actually think I watched 1 full round of every episode during the entire week while I was making my deck. There it is. All right, so I'm really excited today to talk to you guys about 2 things I'm really passionate about in my life, local SEO and The Office. My name is Blake Denman, and I am the president and founder of Rickety Roo Inc. We are a local SEO agency based in beautiful Bend, Oregon. I founded Rickety Roo in February of 2009. We work with small to medium-sized businesses of all sizes across different industries. And I've got a ton to cover today, so that's enough about me. Let's just dive right in. So today I want to kind of glaze over ranking factors for local, as well as localized organic results, NAP and citations, buyer personas, keyword research, a review analysis, URL structure of your website, website copy, on-site SEO, technical SEO, competitive analysis, local link building, and reviews. So we've got a ton to cover, and if I'm talking too fast, I apologize, but let's just get right in. So awesome, the GIFs are already working. I don't have to click twice. So how many of you are familiar with the Moz Local Search Ranking Factor Survey it's put out every year? Show of hands. Okay, some of you are. If you've never checked that out, I would encourage you to. Kind of gives you a good overview of what the local SEO experts in the industry are considering top ranking factors for both local maps as well as traditional localized organic results. I am a contributor in 2018. This image is from the 2017 results. The 2018 results will likely be published by the end of the year. So it all starts with citations. If any of you have worked with local listings, they are the bane of any local SEO's existence because they are a pain in the butt. There are paid solutions out there like Moz. You've also got SignUp, you've got Yext if you want to go down that route. Local listings are table stakes for local map finder rankings, but they do not guarantee you ranking anymore. Unless there are some edge cases where local listings will actually help you, that and that alone, if you're in a non-competitive market or in a very small metropolitan area, that can happen. Poor Kevin. So before you start building local listings, you should build out your NAP, which is a NAP document. NAP is an acronym for business name, address, phone number, but also includes your website, business categories, description, product, services, images, social media channels, videos. You essentially want to get everything you absolutely can onto one document. That way, when you're building out your local listings or your citations, you're able to do it more quickly and efficiently. So, good old GMB, Google My Business. When you are filling out your Google My Business profile, you want to fill as much information as absolutely possible. When you're putting in your business name, you want to use your legal business name. Yes, including adding a modifier and adding keywords and adding locations will dramatically increase your map pack rankings, but that is against Google My Business guidelines. And if I find it, we will crush it. It will not last. I sincerely wish that that wasn't such a large ranking factor for local map results, but it is for now. Add real photos. Don't go to Shutterstock or find some nature photos and just put those as representation of your business. Invest in a photographer. Use professional photos. Upload video. You want to make sure your categories are there. You don't want to overdo that. Fill out all the things. Description, services, add any applicable attributes as they apply. If you have a menu, do that. Add your services, hours of operation, and your opening date. Let's talk about Google My Business posts. So there are 4 different types, really. You have offers, events, what's new, and products. When you do post, we usually aim to do 1 to 3 posts per week for our clients. And we use UTM tracking codes to actually track how well they're performing, if they are at all. And I was doing some research. I couldn't update the slides, so I wrote it down on my hand. Google Posts get truncated, and on desktop, it's different than mobile, and it's different if there's no button, and it's different if there is a button. So if you want to talk about desktop, you have 120 characters of that Google post before it gets truncated, so people actually have to click through to view the rest of that post. With a button, buy now, learn more, sign up, get offer, you have 90 characters. On mobile, without any button, you have 73 to 76 characters before it gets truncated. With a button, you have 55 to 57 characters before it gets truncated. Call now, the call now button only works on mobile. It will not show up on desktop. And the reason I say this is because we're kind of approaching Google My Business posts as almost like a little meta description. And if you want people to engage with your post and you want them to click through to view the rest of the content of that 300-word post that you have, you should use something to call out to them when they actually find that post. All right, top citation sources. This is the local search ecosystem that was put together by Tidings, David Mim, and Whitespark, which is Darren Shaw. Whitespark they have a great resource. You could go onto their website. That's the link to get to it, which will tell you the top citation sources by country. You want to start your citation building from there, or make sure that your business information is correct on those aggregators and tier 1 citation sources. After you've built out your top citation sources, I mean, it varies, but there's roughly 30 to 45. You want to try to identify hyperlocal and industry-specific citation sources or organizations. These are search operators that we use to surface hyperlocal and industry-specific. In this example, I did Paper Distributor Association, and there are 14.5 million results. You don't want to go through all of them. Go through the first couple of pages to find relevant sources for you. Let's get into buyer personas. So it was talked about in Tom's talk. I'm going to reiterate it again. If you don't have buyer personas for your business or your client's business, it's really important that you identify those buyer personas, because if you don't know what you're solving for a customer or what their pain points are, you're not really going to win the game in the long run, right? And not only that, you can use buyer personas to help you with your local link building efforts in the future once you identify what your customers really care about. You can use a tool like Make My Persona, that's put on by HubSpot, or you can download the questionnaire that we send to our clients that enables us to build out buyer personas for our clients. Oh, that GIF didn't come out very good. Geez, Creed looks kind of creepy right there. All right, so keyword research. Man, that's brutal. If you've ever run Google AdWords, now Google Ads, go in there, look at all-time data, and download a search terms report, because you have direct data of what people are actively searching for your business when you're running or not running your campaigns. If you don't have any Google Ads data, you can use tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, or Moz. We typically use a combination of Ahrefs and SEMrush, and we use Moz frequently as well. Now, when you're going through, so you have, like, let's say your top 10 to 15 main head term keywords that you want to go after. You want to pay attention to the other things that are available to you inside the tools that you're using. So you get through, you're going through the data, and if you're using local specific keywords like dentist, Oklahoma City, or family dentistry, Oklahoma City as an example, you might not get actual search volume data from a tool like Ahrefs or Moz, because the clickstream data it works on some major cities, but not all. Or if you're in a small city, go to the next major city close to you to get actual data. When you're going through this process, look at all the other features that Ahrefs offers you, and this new one is called Questions, and it will help you surface content ideas you can use in the future to hopefully rank for in top of the funnel or mid-level range keywords. Now, this is a process we've been doing for about a year now, and we call it a review analysis. And the quote from Michael Scott is, "Don't listen to your critics, listen to your fans." That's true to an extent, but we also want to listen to our critics. And the overall premise is we need to figure out, what are you solving for your customers? You might have an idea of what you are actually doing to solve X for a client, whether it's for your product or your service. So what we're doing is we will actually manually copy every single positive review of that client's business and paste it into a massive document. And in order for you to get actual feedback, you should have a minimum of 50 or so reviews plus. You copy these reviews from Google My Business, Yelp, Facebook, wherever you have reviews, you want to copy that data. You plug it into an Ngram analyzer, that link at the bottom. It's a free tool, and that's the same tool that we use. Then you were looking for bigrams, trigrams, and fourgrams. And they're essentially 2-word phrases, 3-word phrases, 4-word phrases that are most referenced to inside of all that content you just pasted into that tool. And you're looking for the commonalities. What do people love about your business? Because you can't really, unless you're buying reviews from Fiverr, you can't really influence what people are saying about your business. What are you solving? And you repeat the process for negative reviews. You repeat the process for your competition too. And a lot of the results you kind of get from it are very interesting, because it doesn't usually match up to what our clients think that they're actually solving for customers. And it kind of helps you solve pain points, not just online, but in the actual sales cycle or purchasing processes, and it can help you with your internal documentation. Date Mike pro tip, Get 5 Stars, now known as GatherUp. They just announced their rebrand a couple days ago. You can export, if you're a customer of theirs, you can export all of your review data directly into a doc, and you don't have to manually copy and paste. Saves you a lot of time. Let's get into URL structure. One of the basic foundations of SEO is making sure you have a solid URL structure. So you've got your homepage, then you've got all the links that go out to regular pages, to your blog, to content, and then you have internal linking, right? So I'm not just talking specifically about making sure you have a solid navigation. If we go back to the keyword research, what you do is you go through all the keywords that you've identified that you would want to rank for, and you start breaking them into main head terms or topics. And you keep going through that list. You might have a couple hundred keywords. You don't want to create a couple hundred pages of content that doesn't work anymore. If you start creating topic pages for a main head term, what are all the semantically related keywords that are associated with that main head term? And you want to start creating lists. And so you create a semantic list of all the different head terms that you want. Then you get back, you look at your current URL structure. You look at, okay, here's the main pages I have for my products and services. We have a contact page, an about us page, e-commerce if you're e-commerce, and we have our blog. When you look at all of this, does what you just completed with the research process match what your actual website is? If it's not, you might want to take a look at updating that content or updating that URL structure to make your website more user-friendly for both users and search engine bots. Now, let's get back to copy. Let's be honest. If you've ever looked at your website or a client's website and actually read the copy out loud, would you actually read that to somebody with the stuffed keywords and all? You know, the chances are you probably wouldn't. So you might need to make some updates to that copy and improvisation. So writing killer content to update pages on your website. Once you have your buyer personas, you've got keyword research, you've done a review analysis. If you work with a great copywriter, it's a dance party. I love Kevin so much. There is a great resource for service pages, even if you're not a local business, that Joel Kletke wrote from, he posted that, and it's a great piece of content. Highly recommend you check it out. Now let's get into on-site SEO. So Ryan Howard, you could say he was the SEO Dunder Mifflin, even though he cost that company hundreds of thousands of dollars for lying and all sorts of other stuff. Very simple, traditional on-site SEO. You've got main title tag. You've got unique title tags on every page of your website. You've got unique meta descriptions, and you've got header tags. The overall process that we use for our title tags is we have a keyword separator, brand name. Meta description, not really a ranking factor, even though keywords do show up bolded in the meta description on the SERP. That's your opportunity to shine. That's your elevator pitch. Header tags. Let's say you're a dentist in Oklahoma City. Your H1 tag should not be dentist Oklahoma City. That doesn't say anything about you. Yeah, it says dentist Oklahoma City. Add a unique identifier. If you go through that review analysis and you say, okay, people love how friendly we are, why don't you have a unique header tag like saying Oklahoma City's friendliest dentist? Add a unique identifier. Make yourself stand out from the competition. SSL. If you haven't upgraded to SSL yet, you should have gotten on that 6 months ago. They're not very expensive. They're really not. And if you have a hosting like WP Engine, you can get a free SSL certificate directly through WP Engine via Let's Encrypt. Structured data is becoming more and more important. It's very boring, and setting up all that coding really sucks. This is the template that we use for all of our local SEO clients. This will encompass geo-coordinates, latitude, longitude, hazmat that links directly to your Google listing, business description, your business name, address, phone number, sales contact phone numbers, same as, which would be your social media profiles. Then that's the JSON testing tool if you want to make sure you can download the template at your leisure, update that information, paste that into the testing tool, make sure it's verified and there's no warnings or errors, and you're good to go. If your site is running on WordPress, a great plugin that you can use is Schema app by Hunch Manifest. It's free up until a certain point, and at the baseline, you get schema breadcrumbs. It does authorship markup for schema. And you can also, there's a lot more you can do with it, but then you kind of get into more of their paid version. And if you have reviews that are native to your website, they're not posted on Google My Business, Yelp, Facebook, or anything like that, you need to mark those up with aggregate rating. You want to get that feature, you want to get that little rich snippet in your search engine result, in your SERP result. It won't show up on your homepage, but it will show up on your child pages of your website, more than likely. Now, internal link building, there's always a lot of discussion about that. The way that we kind of think about it is we add internal links if it makes sense to the user. If you actually read the copy on one service page, and then you've got this other topic over here for this main head term. If you read the copy and you see that there is relevance and it might be useful to a user to add that link from this page, this cluster page over here, to this other topic, this other product or service, you should add that internal link because it's useful to users mainly, but it's also beneficial to search engine bot. Don't overdo it. One of our client that we work with had a plugin installed, and what they did was they included every time that a keyword specifically got mentioned on any page of their entire website, it automatically added an internal link. And so some pages had like 15 internal links to the same page, and it looked very, very spammy, not just from a user's perspective, but it could be considered spam by big old G. Content audit. Hands down the worst cameo in the office, don't at me. Jeremetrius. This mainly applies to blog posts. So if you go into Google Search Console, look at 3 to 6 months worth of data. You want to sort by pages, you want to sort by clicks, export all that data, then go by through and look at each individual URL and see if that blog post is getting any type of traffic. Then you can look through those pieces of content and mark them for consolidation, or you can mark them for removal. If you have 15% of your blog posts are never visited by anybody, there's really no point in keeping them. Mark them from consolidation or remove them. It's wasting crawl budget. XML sitemaps, I do declare. If you're using Yoast SEO, it's automatically going to build them. You want to make sure that there aren't any useless sitemaps inside of there. I'm talking like tags or media libraries that are different than the regular. That's a story for another day. Submit to Bing Webmaster Tools, Google Search Console, and also declare your robot in your robots.txt file. Technical SEO. It always starts with a crawl. We use a combination of ScreamFrog and Sitebulb. We've been using Sitebulb more and more frequently. It's a pretty new tool in the market, and it's awesome in my opinion. Crawls start with a map. And so if we look at the front entrance, that's where the crawl starts, right? And you might come into issues like a no index of Toby, or you might find that the crawl ends up going down stairs, which might be to irrelevant pages or things that shouldn't even be happening in the crawl. Now, typical crawl issues that we see when we run audits, internal through-run redirects, this is especially applicable when they have just updated from HTTP to HTTPS. A lot of those internal links haven't been updated. If you use WordPress, you can use Velvet Blue URLs to take care of most of it, but be careful. If you make a mistake, you're going to break your site. 404s, external 404s, duplicate titles, duplicate metas, no index of important pages. An audit I ran for one client, long-standing, their homepage was no indexed, and it wasn't. And Google was actually honoring the no index, which was surprising. And this is what you guys see on the left. I actually found this on a brand new client just last month of their previous SEO. Thought they were helping, but blocking critical components that Googlebot should definitely have access to. I love Kevin, but he was cruft. To remove cruft code, the first tool, it just scans your entire website. It's still a beta tool. It is completely free. It will scan your entire website, and it will provide you all of the unused CSS. But if you use Sitebulb, it will tell you all the useless JavaScript and useless CSS that is not being used on the website. And you don't want to just get all this, export everything, look at it, and then just start deleting galore. You want to test. You got to test. And one thing I love about WP Engine is that you have a staging environment, and you're able to create the staging environment, and to me, it's a playground because I get to break sites all day and not affect the live website. So always use a staging environment when you're removing CSS, or you're thinking about deleting JavaScript or asyncing it or removing it to the footer of the page. Got to speed that site up. Again, another shout out to WP Engine from the hosting perspective. TinyPNG is an awesome WordPress plugin that you can use for free, up to 500 image compressions per month. If you only have 100 photos on your media library, chances are you probably have more than 800 to 1,200 actual photos because of all the different size variations. It's lossless image compression, super easy to use, and it's a great tool. WP Rocket, in my opinion, is the hands down best caching plugin for WordPress. I've tried them all, and this is the best. And there's a lot of other nifty features you get to test and break your site with too. So, and that is a paid plugin, but it's definitely worth it. Let's talk about competitive analysis. If you know who your local competition is and they're just crushing it on Google, try to find some low-hanging fruit. If you use the link intersect tool by Ahrefs and you plug in your main competitor and you plug in your website, it will tell you all of the links that they have built from other websites that you do not have. In this case, staples.com compared to dundermifflin.com, there are 36,525 domains not linking to Dunder Mifflin. That's obviously a different edge case because it's not real, but we always find great opportunities here. You can repeat this process for other competitors, and when you're going through this process, not all links are created equal. If one of your primary competitors, and they're just doing really good on Google, and you see that they have 1,000 links from this Russian forum website, and they're do follow links, and they're all keyword rich, and oh my God, this is it. This is gonna win us a top spot in Google, man. No, it's spam. And so you really want to take Dwight's advice here. I'll say it another way. If that link solely exists on that other website for the purpose of trying to help their SEO, don't do it. If it's not going to send any traffic, if it's not topically relevant, or if it's not locally relevant, it's a waste of time and energy, and it's not going to help move the needle. If you want to go deeper, look at your competitions. Also look at their site architecture, see what they're doing. Look at their top performing pages. Look at content gaps. And again, look at their site architecture. If they're winning for a reason. Now, building great local links. Local organizations. And yes, there is a typo. It's Toastmasters, not Toasty Masters. I tried to update that last night, but I wasn't able to. So I found it first. Nana boo boo. You can't call me out on the typo. Professional organizations like Toastmasters, BNI, Chamber of Commerce, they're all going to help you, but only so much. If you join the Chamber of Commerce or you join Toastmasters and you just show up, if you just get you're a member, but you don't show up to the events, you don't actually build some local community there, you're getting 10% of the actual value. Because if you show up to these events and you become involved in your local community, you're going to get much, much more than just a link. You're going to build relationships with other people, referral partners, whatever you want to call them. You're building a local brand. That's a search operator if you want to surface other business associations. Local sponsorships. If you're a family dentist in Oklahoma City, it's probably a good idea to think about who your buyer personas are. It's probably a good idea to sponsor some Little League teams. If you're a family dentistry, your customers are there. It's a good local link to get, and you're going to get in front of your target customers, and you're doing something good for your local community. These are the search operators that we use. Press releases. It needs to be actually press release worthy content. Your new product, your new service, or your new carpet is not really going to excite anybody. So don't spam that. You know, if you win a business accolade, or let's say one of your team members accomplishes something huge, that's press release worthy. Or if you get involved with a local nonprofit, that's press release worthy. Job boards, great cameo. Search operator to use. Job boards aren't really going to move the needle very much, but you do get a nice unstructured citation if you're a local business with and include your local information. Some of them link out, some of them don't. Doesn't matter if it's do follow or no follow. Local events. If you have the capacity to, you should host local events like a blood drive. You're never going to get a link from the American Red Cross. They don't link out to their sponsors, but there's so much other promotion you can do to get in front of your target audience and to build up a lot of demand for that local event. The benefits include unstructured citations, brand awareness, local links, and you get potential customers at your physical location, which is the best, right? We all want to rank because we want to get new business. If you bring potential customers to your location, it just makes sense, right? Now, local vendors. Port Richards is an actual pub that's in Scranton, PA. If you're a local business, let's say you work with your local tax accountant or CPA, don't you think by offering them testimonial, they're going to want to add that testimonial to their website? You can ask for a link, but even if they don't link to you, that's still an unlinked brand mention that's locally relevant to your business. So think about who your local vendors are, offer them a testimonial, or if they have a resources page on their website, you can easily ask them, hey, we've been doing business a long time, would you consider adding us to your resource page? Pretty easy reach out, especially if you have the relationship. Have at it. Scholarship link building from universities, it's not as effective as it used to be. I will say this, it still kind of works, not so much though. Search operators to use to surface .edu websites nationwide that accept outside scholarship submissions. Those are search operators to use. Pro tip is once you start seeing other scholarships that are posted on these external scholarship pages, grab those URLs, plug them in a tool like Ahrefs, and look at the links that they built to it. Or you can just go to Google and search for a term like law firm scholarship, and it will surface high-ranking scholarship pages, and you can grab those URLs, add them to a tool like Ahrefs, and find all the links that that particular page has to add to your link outreach efforts. Reviews. If you don't have a review building strategy, you're a couple years behind, but you got to get on that yesterday. It does have a direct impact on ranking. It's just not the sheer volume of reviews. It's more about the sentiment and what customers are actually saying about your business. If you want to geek out on reviews, that link that's Darren's talk from MozCon this year. Definitely look into that. Review building strategy. There's a handy resource from Moz. You can use a paid third party like GatherUp, get 5 stars. There's a slew of other ways of doing it. You can create your own outreach emails. You can send postcards. There's so many other ways of asking customers for a review. Now, if you get a negative review, it's important. You don't want to respond like Michael Scott when you get a negative review. You want to take a step back, pause, and then come back and say, okay, how do I respond professionally, but I can defend my ground? Take a deep breath, run it by a couple people before you respond to a negative review. Just like your investment portfolio, you want to diversify your review building efforts. Google, Facebook, Yelp. If you really want to look into it, do some searches for your main head term. See what other third-party local listing providers are actually ranking pretty prominently, and you want to build up a review presence on there. All in all, folks, you want to be like Bob Vance. Every opportunity Bob Vance got in the office, like his first introduction, he shook the hand of everybody and said, Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. He was doing it for the marketing. He wasn't doing it just to say his business name where he was not crazy. You want to build a great local brand. If you do search for Vance Refrigeration, there's more than 40,000 results for that. Thank you.